Okay, so here we are on MTG Bulk Mythic with the last of the 5 colleges in Strixhaven. This pre-release pack here is for Witherbloom. It's the Black-Green Guild, working with a life game theme. They gave Graveyard to Lorehold, so let's see how Witherbloom reconciles the conflict between life and death with their studies. All right, pull that sleeve off there, pop it open. Here's the Witherbloom die, black and green. There's a lot more green in this one than I've seen in the black and green speckled dies before. And there's the Witherbloom emblem right there on the 20 spot. Here's the little deal. Like I was saying in the previous video, you can collect the rest of them. Like here's the commons right here. You have Lorehold, I think, over to this side. Maybe Prismari actually might be over here because it's blue and red. And Quandrix is up here. And you can actually collect these and put them around. But there's a big gaping hole in the middle of it where you're missing the art. And here is our promo card, which is Cody Vociferous Codex. Now, this is not playable at all in Limited. I'm just going to say that right now. I got this as my pre-release promo in my Quandrix pack that I actually used for the Spell Table event. It's a very interesting card. It's a 5-color commander. So if you want to play like an Oops All Spells commander deck, maybe that would be good. But I haven't seen anybody really come out with anything that would be too amazing with it. But without any more pomp and circumstance, let's go right into our seeded pack. Let's see what we've got here for Witherbloom. Now, I was looking at these. I almost played Witherbloom in the Spell Table event. I thought it would be a pretty powerful combination, but I just could not shy away from Quandrix. It just really, like, as somebody who's always been attracted to numbers, was something I wanted to play. Now, granted that we're in green, there's a really high probability that we'll be able to play more than just black and green. So we'll have to see how that goes, because that's where our mana fixing is. Like, there's a lot of, like, Emergent Sequence right here. Very good early mana fixing card. It actually affects the board with a real creature and is definitely playable in Witherbloom. So we also have Environmental Sciences as a lesson in Callous Blood Mage is 2 generic and a black for a 2/1 Vampire Warlock. When it enters the battlefield, you may either create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life, or you may draw a card and lose a life, or exile target player's graveyard. Very interesting little combination here. And then here are our double-faced tokens. So we have a pest on either side, which is Witherbloom's pet. And then we have a fractal and an inkling, which I guess what I'm getting from these packs is these are the neighboring colors pets. So if you get a hybrid card that would create their pet, you still have the ones to affect it. But these pre-release packs are the only ones that you would see these double-faced tokens in it. And then we have the write-in token. However, if you do need additional tokens and you got a store that's as awesome as TC's Rockets, they actually created custom tokens of each of the pets. So right here, we've got the pest creature token. They gave a set to everyone who ordered a box of Strixhaven. So these came with my collector booster box that we're going to, I'm sorry, our set booster box. I'm definitely not spending the money on the collector booster boxes. Our set booster box that we're going to be opening in over 3 videos on the channel, and will come in very useful once we start playing some, good old-fashioned face-to-face cardboard paper magic. All right, so moving on there. Hoping to build on the green-black theme. Here's another Witherbloom Campus. That'll help us out a lot. If you have to splash, it also helps just to kind of fix your own primary colors. Anyway, leaves room for splashing. Expanded Anatomy, another one of the very strong lessons in this set. Let's see here. And our first rare is a modal double-faced card. So we have the Dean of Radiance, 2 mana, 1/1 flying Vigilance that you can tap to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that entered the battlefield under your control this turn. Or you have the Dean of Shadow for 2 and 2 black as a 4/4. You can tap to put a +1/+1 counter on another creature. Then the Dean of Shadow deals 2 damage to that creature. And when a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on a die is draw a card. So you can target your opponent's creatures if they only have 1 toughness, put a +1/+1 counter on it and kill it anyway. Or you can target your own creature if you want to essentially sacrifice it to draw cards, or pump it up so that it wins a fight and dies and draws a card. Or if it has enough toughness and can survive the pump, go ahead and make it permanently bigger. So very, very good card there. We could definitely play the black side of it in Witherbloom, so we're going to go ahead and put that in our black pile for sorting purposes as we build. And then our first mythical archive is strategic planning, and then we have another expanded anatomy. So those are going to come in very handy as long as we have the learn cards to go get those. Because just being able to put +1/+1 counters on your creatures and give them vigilance. It's a sorcery, but if you do it pre-combat main phase, it's still untapped for and +2/+2 bigger for your defensive turn as well. So not a bad thing. Charge through, target creature gains trample until end of turn. So once you pump them up nice and big, you can go ahead and push damage through, as well as replacing itself with a card. Environmental sciences, huge for making sure that you can hit your splash colors if you're splashing, or just hit your land drops. Now, Harness Affinity. Yes, we're in Witherbloom. This isn't our colors. It's a powerful effect, but in limited. Even with 2 Witherbloom campuses, we are not reliably, by the time we get to 7 mana, going to have 3 green and 3 black. It's just the fact of the matter. Unless we just magically get a bunch of fixing. We have 1 environmental sciences. There might have been another one in here. Nope. Oh, yeah, 2 environmental sciences, 2 Witherbloom campuses. We would have to get a lot more in the vein of mana fixing. And not be splashing, mind you, to really make this playable. So I'm not expecting to have that in the deck, to be honest. Because we can't use our mana fixing to splash and try to set up for that. Divine Gambit is our mythical archive. And we got a magical ad card. So about halfway through here, looking at it, luckily we have things like Quandrix, Pledge Mage, and stuff like that. We have Hybrid Cram Session is pretty good, especially with the learn, going out and getting some of these awesome lessons we have. That right there, this Crocodile, it was painful to play against that in the pre-release on Spell Table. Tappy Toe Claws, I want to say, was the one that put 2 of those into play against me, and even dropped some +1/+1 counters on one of them, and I had no hope. No hope at all. But here's Field Trip right here. We have a Field Trip. We've got an emergence sequence. You know, I would really like to see a few more pieces of fixing before I even think about playing that our good old where's it at? Harness Infinity. It's probably just not going to make the deck. We have a Whirlwind Denial, another blue mystical archive card. To be honest, if you're in Witherbloom, the best color to probably splash is blue, and another Ride-In card there. So, I mean, the real variance, the real way to throw your opponents off is to play these mystical archive cards, because they're not in the normal set. You never know which ones you're going to get, and it really helps. And a lot of them have some really powerful effects. So if you can play the good mystical archive cards, you can really create some situations where your opponent cannot predict what you're going to do because of these mystical archive cards and the effects that they have. But here we go. In Witherbloom, good uncommon here, Dina Soul Steeper is a 2 mana 1/3. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses life, so it drains your opponents whenever you gain life. And you can pay a generic and sacrifice another creature so that the Soul Steeper gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is that creature's power. So if you're creating pests, you can sacrifice them to her to pump her up, gain that life from it dying, and drain your opponent all at the same time. So a lot of good synergy there. And here we run into another pair of Deans on the modal double face card. We have the Dean of Chaos, which is a generic in red for a 2/2. Tap, discard a card, draw a card, so it has Rummage printed on it. And then 4 in a red, tap, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary, non-land card, mana value 3 or less. And you may cast that card without paying its mana cost, put all the rest on the bottom in a random order. You're essentially trying to cascade into a 3 or less spell that's non-legendary, I guess. It could be powerful in red, especially with the removals out there. And then we have the Dean of Order, 2 generic and a white for a 1/3. Other tapped creatures get +1/+0, and other untapped creatures get +0/+1. And this is the one that once you attack, you untap everything and then choose which you want to be tapped. So this card right here, don't foresee us playing it in this pool if we're going to stay Witherbloom. However, in red white dwarves with, can't remember the legendary creature that gives you a treasure token every time you tap a dwarf, like just as with this one face up, attack, make your treasure tokens, untap everything, and then tap the ones that you want, make more treasure tokens, and then decide which power and toughness you want where. It seems like a pretty powerful effect. And then we have God's Willing as our mystical archive. And there's our fractal token. Last pack right here. Looking at it, Witherbloom. You know, we had a lot of really good gold cards. I think we can stick to Witherbloom. If we need to splash something with our environmental sciences and our search up your basic land cards in green, I think we can probably pull off a splash into blue. Or maybe even black, depending on what our removal is. I didn't see too much there, but not a terrible pool for Witherbloom. Oh, I'm sorry, we're already in black for Witherbloom. You're right. Thanks for go ahead and commenting that down below. I appreciate that reminder there. And then, of course, things like Fractal Summoning are automatically playable because of the hybrid mana. Another emergent sequence. So, am I going to play the Harness Affinity? I'm probably not. Not at all, actually. But there's plenty of other playables here. And here's Ingenious Mastery for rare. It's an X, 2, and a blue. You may pay 2 and a blue rather than pay its normal cost. And if you do, you draw 3 cards and the opponent creates 2 treasure tokens and then they scry 2. If that cost wasn't paid, you just draw X cards. So it's 3 mana, draw 3, but then you have to let your opponent scry 2 and create 2 treasures. Or it's 3 and an X to draw X cards and not give your opponent the advantage of card selection and ramp. So it's up to you what you want to do with it. We have a Claim the Firstborn Mystical Archive and a Pest token, which may come in handy once this one's already on the battlefield if I need more. So again, Witherbloom actually looks pretty good. We have a pretty thick stack of green. We have a pretty thick stack of black. We had some really good green and black cards. And then the hybrid, especially coming out of Quandrix, looked really good. So we got a Fractal Summoning that can go into our Wish board. Pest Summoning can go into, I'm sorry, our Lesson board. Moldering Croc is going to do work for us. Cram Session's going to go search those. We're not even going to talk about that card. If we want to splash blue, then we do have some good Quandrix cards, but Quandrix Pledge Mage is playable off the hybrid mana. And definitely another Pest Summoning, a Pledge Mage, and another Cram Session. But again, I'm going to put a link in the description to the tappedout.net list of this pool. Take a look at it. Tell me what you would build. Is there a splash that we need? Is there enough here to make something that would be good out of just Witherbloom, or are we transferring colleges? Leave a comment below or find us on Facebook. Comment on the post to this video. Let us know what you would build. Let me know what I'm doing right. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. If there's something else you'd want to see, look forward to this channel. I've got that set booster box that we're going to be opening. I've got a couple of the commander decks that we're going to open. And then we're going to roll into as well some Jumpstart and Commander Legends product that I just kind of picked up on the side. So look forward to that new stuff on the channel, and like, subscribe, do all of those things. Share with somebody else too to let them know that we're all here sharing our hobby together.